What is going on, guys? It's Yoji. Welcome to Hilariously Casual Non-Tryhard Podcast, episode 16. We just keep them coming at this point. There's like no way to stop us anymore. And yeah, I'm here with Project PT, as always. And I think he's frozen now. He should have stacked some freeze immunity. What is this? Nah, he's not.
Hey.
I'm just joking.
Dick.
We're just not moving, man. And we also have the one and the only this blah blah Waggle. I have no idea what this name is all about. But yeah, he's here. He also plays and streams Path of Exile sometimes. Actually, pretty regularly these days. And yeah,
been trying to.
Still playing Essence League, still atlasing, all that kind of stuff. How have you been?
I was gonna say one day tier 16 will drop for me.
So you can actually do the new content. That would be cool.
Yeah. So what build are you playing currently, Waggle?
Right now I've been working on a mirror arrow suicide bomber, the minion instability build. If you guys are familiar with that one.
Yeah,
I caught you playing it a little bit.
It's not hilariously bugged anymore, right? Because it used to be like these clones have like 15 billion life just for no reason at all, and you could just one shot everything. I think that's probably fixed. Although I didn't see the
I think that lasted about a week.
Yeah, I just saw like people one shotting everything.
Yeah, that was before they were against nerfing things in the middle of the league, so they just gutted it right away.
Well, I think even if that happened mid-league, it probably would have been gutted because that was an interaction that shouldn't have existed.
Yeah.
And then I remember everyone was like, but why did you nerf the build? I was having fun with it. It's like, did you not see how much damage it was doing for literally 0? How is it scaling currently?
The damage is definitely still way up there. But like above, I'd say probably even Flame Blast.
Okay.
But you gotta deal with cooldowns. So kind of fucks your map speed.
What gear do you need before it kind of starts coming together?
I would say probably like minimum you need the +3 bow, because the bow gem level obviously scales the base HP.
Mm-hmm.
And then the reason I went for it was because there's that minion essence that lets you stack minion life on all your fucking gear, so they get over 100%. But I don't know if you need any of that. I think you really just need the bow and then like shavs or whatever you feel like going low life with.
Alright.
So you do need it low life. It's not gonna function.
Yeah, because if you're not low life, the minions don't blow up right away.
Right.
Because they copy your HP.
I was just wondering if you could somehow do the interaction using that belt that makes flasks affects minions.
You can actually.
Yeah, that works with the coruscating elixir. I've seen that being done.
When I was leveling the character, somebody mentioned they were doing the same build kind of, but they were doing it with specters, because there's a necromancer node that says like specters have double life or 100% increased life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so they would summon the specters and then hit the flask to blow up the specters.
That's interesting.
Yeah. You can get some decently high health specters.
But it kind of requires you to have like minions, like corpses and stuff to revive. So it's basically probably plays like a little bit like DD, where you like desecrate and blow up stuff, which puts an extra step of flasking.
You don't get your DD, but you don't get any flasks. So
hey, look, I made DD worse. Look at this awesome build. Seems good.
There's a cooldown? There's a helmet enchant that reduces the cooldown of the arrow skill, isn't there?
Yeah.
I've
been trying to get my hands on one.
Oh, you don't have it yet.
People just overrode it, I'm guessing. That's kind of like...
Yeah, everybody overwrites it. There's 2 for sale on the Hubris space that I would buy, but they've been offline for 3 weeks. No big deal.
Damn it. Yeah, that's
farm it yourself. Jeez, lazy.
I'm too scared, man. I hate lab on anything CI. If it's not a cultist, I feel like I'm gonna kill myself.
Yeah,
I'm terrible at the traps.
I'm not even gonna bother tangenting into me hating Labyrinth, so we'll just stick with the build for now. When I was watching it, I wasn't sure if you had the helmet enchant yet, and it's kind of clunky, but some pretty hilarious damage.
Yeah. Actually, someone, I don't know if you guys know Lapis, he's like a big PvP guy, but he had been rolling the build. I didn't even know he was doing it. but he ripped his character before he got to any of the like end game T16 stuff. But he went on standard, got like a Minotaur map, and said he did like I think just under half his health with one burn.
What?
The damage, his gear's way better than what I've got, but
That's
it's definitely still pretty ridiculous.
Well, mechanically, it should be a good Shaper killer, shouldn't it?
Yeah, that's the plan. Hopefully, assuming I make it that far.
You have to be a little bit patient to organize the gear and not be like, but I want to do the rippy stuff. Have to wait. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to, because Val Righteous Fire is the burn one shot for shit like Shaper if you want to really do that. That being said, you don't have to deal with Val skills. You have complete mobility. What's your energy shield total?
Like just under 9K right now.
That's pretty damn good.
Throw on my discipline.
With the shavs,
8,800. Yeah,
with the
I
shavs
probably
and
get
not
like
proper shields, pretty damn good.
Yeah, but
How
it's
much?
still sketchy.
Yeah, I was saying like under 10Ks is going to be that sketchy mark for Shaper. People like going like 13K plus. How much energy shield do you want for Shaper?
I don't really think I can get much higher than 10K, so it's going to be scary in that regard. I just have to not get slammed, I guess.
Sounds like a plan. Yeah, I mean the laser you have to dodge anyways, and all the other stuff's like. Yeah, it's basically about this being able to have room for error on the slam or not. Yeah.
Also, without the cooldown reduction on the helmet, I could see the ads being next to impossible to manage.
Yeah, because I didn't actually realize this. Somebody brought it up, but because they don't leave corpses, so you can't prolift with them.
Yeah, they don't leave corpses because they have absurd HP. I think you could otherwise just DD them and kill Shaper with it. Because their HP is like ridiculous, like completely ridiculous.
Yeah, that makes sense when you actually stop and think about it.
That's what I was thinking right when the Shaper content. I was like, the one thing I was looking for is with the Uber map. One of the reasons DD is so powerful is it has the mobs have extra life modification in the zone.
Yeah.
But Shaper doesn't have that, so you don't get that DD bonus. And I was like, damn it, such a shame.
Well, they learned. They learned. Also, like Shaper's freeze immune, right? But he's not burn immune and not shock immune, right?
Yeah, you can burn him, poison him.
He is shock immune.
He's also shock immune. Yeah, otherwise it would just like Val Lightning Trap his ass all the time.
Because there was that bug where Vinkdars was shocking him apparently for a short period of time, and then they had to hotfix that out.
Yeah. I mean, that's for 50% more damage that you are not supposed to get, so yeah, it kind of makes sense. Especially with the uptime of Vinkdars on some certain Pathfinder Blade Vortex builds.
Next patch, too many people Val Righteous Fire into him, now he's burn immune. Good luck.
Oh, fuck it. I like my Flame Blasts, man. Yeah.
Well, sorry, what were you saying?
The power of burn has like recently become like more and more obvious again to people. I feel like with like Flame Blast getting a bit more spotlight, and with the Val Righteous Fire builds on, especially on Reddit, going up pretty high up there, and Mathel doing burn fireball, showing what that can do. Like I've kind of felt like with the whole poison thing, people kind of forgot about burn being double dipping mechanic for a while.
Yeah.
Well, it probably is really, just that when something completely overshadowed, because poison did completely overshadow burn, especially when you could 100% convert your fire to chaos. And so as they nerf poison a little bit more and a little bit more, it's just going to remind people of how strong fire is, and that you have a skill like Flame Blast, which is absolutely perfect for burn. Like, you can't understate how powerful these high-end one application skills are.
Yep. I mean, that's what burn wants. Like Firestorm, people always ask, why don't you do Firestorm burn? Because they don't understand what burns are about. And they don't stack, for fuck's sake, unless you go like weird Ember Wake shit. But yeah, interesting to see that make a comeback after... I mean, Flame Blast was the meta for like 1.5 years back in the past, and just rotated out. Now it's back! Yay!
Let's be honest, it was always the meta. People just got sick of playing it.
Yeah, it was just like slightly nerfed. People like, it's not viable anymore. It's still viable, but I don't want to play it. Shut up.
Yeah.
Well, it's like now in the league, people are just like, yeah, look at all these. People are like, well, check out this meta thing that isn't Blade Vortex. It's like, no, it's not. People are just tired of Blade Vortex. They want to do something different. Like, you have some of the meta skills, but now people are just trying as hard as they can to play different things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always like at the beginning of the league, it's all about like, I want to play the most OP shit and get rich, and then after that it's like, okay, I want to play something else than the shit I played for the first month. Kind of makes sense, I guess.
So what would you say is the most underrated build right now, Waggle?
Oh, that's a hard one. Actually, I think, honestly, the Flame Blast Inquisitor builds are pretty underrated. Like, everyone's been going Elementalist, but I don't really think it's necessary anymore. And Inquisitor is so much better at just almost one-shotting the new bosses.
What about the Reflect problem, though?
You, be careful.
Yeah, you have to.
Don't do reflect maps. Don't pull a rocks and 10 stack a reflected essence rare.
Yeah. You have to be really careful with some stuff, and you definitely lose some quality of life, I would think. Like, as I said, like, normally essence rares, you just, like, as an elementalist, you just 10 stack, open, blow them up, and you won't die. Even the minus max, I didn't die doing that. But yeah, Inquisitor has to be super careful, but you gain power for danger.
Well, I think the problem is often, like, when you see, like, okay, there's no reflect maps on the screen, you start casting, you're at, like, 8, because you're like, oh, yeah, there's a mob with a chunk of health. And then all of a sudden you see a reflect map walk onto your screen, and you're like, huh, so when I let go, I die.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I wonder if
you actually log out?
Yeah, I wonder if you can like hold the button and press the logout macro. I wonder if you would die or not. I've never tried.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one.
So I agree that the Inquisitor does a fucking retarded amount of damage with Flame Blast.
Yes.
But I think a lot of people will just lean towards the Elementalist. Like when I was playing Frostbolt, which doesn't have nearly the top end as Flame Blast, even at like a non-quality level 19 gem, I was getting to the point where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to one-shot myself with a 5-link. This is a problem. So...
Yeah, I'm playing low life crit Stormcall Inquisitor right now, talking about one-shotting yourself to reflect. I don't have a Vinctus yet, so I'm like kind of like being very, very careful with stuff. But it's
You've
okay.
got no chance.
Yeah.
Currently, it's the question of when.
Yeah. So I'll buy a Vinctus next, but haven't found a reasonably priced one in a while.
But guys, there's the Sextant that has 100% reduced reflect damage. All problems solved.
I got like so many Sextants. I think when they do the Sextant patch on I think Monday now, I'll just like Sextant all my maps and see what happens. Just, like,
I can't wait to kill all my characters to like 7 Sextant maps.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
So what do you think there, Waggle, about what we've been teased with the Sextant patch on Monday?
I hope it doesn't get delayed again. But other than that, it definitely looks a lot better. It's not like... I'm still kind of disappointed that they aren't really giving Sextant mods that add quantity. They seem to just be like the Sextants do their own thing. But it's better than the stuff we have. Like I think they'll actually be worth using.
Well, to be fair, better than what we have is not really much of an award.
Yeah.
At least it's not getting worse. That's a good thing. Yeah, I don't know how they missed the mark on the initial Sextants so much. It's a bit. It seems a bit like they have some experience with the mapping system after all these years, I would think, and what people look for. But they just like whizzed so widely. I was like, did they even like look what people wrote on their maps? Like what we look for, what mods we do, and what dangerous stuff we avoid.
Well, I think it's something to do with, and it's a map system itself. There's problems with risk reward with the map system. Mm-hmm. I think everybody can agree with that if they're not lying to themselves. There's some good things about it, but there's some things that just don't quite make sense. And the Sextants are map mods, and they haven't seemed to fundamentally address that risk versus reward. So when we see Sextants, it's like, does it spawn more mobs for us to kill? If not, okay. there's the speed boost one, but then it's like, okay, well, what's a mechanic that we could, like, what was it, the hyper warp or speed shift? What was it called?
Speed.
Oh, I don't remember. It's the Arctic thing, but it's go fast instead of go slow.
Yeah, and I was thinking, it's like, okay, well, you remember Tempest League. Tempest League was like, hey, you could stand in the Tempest, get the buff, and then clear faster. Yeah, because everybody did that. That's exactly what everybody did. Everyone was like, oh yeah, I'm going to wait around for my buff. No.
This one's
if
going
you
to
have
be...
to stop, it's going to be the same thing.
The Val Haste Tempest was like, mainly the mobs randomly have Val Haste, and you have to be careful, and maybe you get randomly hit by one, but you don't really... Like, it doesn't make sense to stop for a speed buff, that's basically the point, but it still affects the mobs randomly all the time, and... there's right now a sextant I had where you and mobs gain onslaught for 5 or 10 seconds on hit. That's basically every mob you don't one shot has onslaught. It's fucking annoying. It's just so yeah, they kind of had some weird ideas with this, but this time around it seems like they have some more creative stuff as well, where they add like packs to the map that fight the monsters and stuff like this, which seems interesting. It's kind of like the basically. I
assume
neutral
that
monsters.
those neutral monsters, if they score kills, you don't get the loot or the experience.
Yeah, exactly. So you kind of want to nuke all of them, which is basically what Path of Exiles anyway.
Yeah, and I guess it's going to be a valuable sextant if you can clear fast enough, because it's like, hey, more loot. But is it going to make you play differently?
Nah.
If you're already clearing fast, and that's where I'm like. So essentially, the sextant system is: does this allow you to play the game exactly as you play it and gain extra loot? Yay! Else, ignore.
Well, what about the barrel one? That one will make you play different, unless you already kill all the barrels.
Oh, Herald of Thunder, man! Herald of Thunder buff. Yeah, that one. That's pretty cool. I also like the one that adds, what was it? Like adds a strongbox and makes all strongboxes corrupted. That's kind of like.
Oh yeah, that one.
That's
going to be the good one.
That's going to piss people off, because someone's going to get the fucking Shavs graphics and they're going to be like, no. Apparently, someone's getting murdered in the background.
Okay, I'm back. I muted myself on the stream though.
I don't think it successfully worked on that mute.
Oh, I muted on the stream on OBS, but I didn't mute on Skype.
No, we had somebody walking through frying pans.
That stream didn't.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
all that really matters. I guess that makes it okay.
Yeah, otherwise I have to press 2 buttons. That's too much muting.
Yeah, but now the stream's gonna be confused what I'm complaining about.
Yeah, they probably assume that you're like hearing things anyway.
There was loud noises.
Setting you up here.
What was the information about the barrel one again? It was just a bunch of barrels?
It was like
extra barrels.
Something about special barrels. Yeah. They made it sound like the strange barrels, but I doubt it's going to be full of the strange barrel like the unique box.
Nah, I'm thinking it's the like you click on them or you hit them and they open barrels.
Could it be rippy? Like, I'm thinking, imagine, like, they had the exploding ones that do damage. What if these actually do damage and there's just a fuck ton of them, so you actually have to watch out for, like, these TNT packs near you?
I actually realized this patch 2 weeks ago that those barrels do damage. I didn't know that before.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember why they did that.
I don't know. But I actually didn't know that. I was like, 2 weeks ago, I was like, why did I take ES damage to my ES? What is this? No.
Yeah, the exploding barrels do like 1 damage.
Yeah, they do like 50 damage to you or something if you kill like a pack.
Yeah, the explosives that don't really exist in the game, they store them on the barrels.
Yeah.
Would you guys want those barrels to actually be like scary?
Yeah, make them like big red and scary, like in like shooters and stuff, where you have these shoot me barrels that explode when you shoot them.
Yeah.
Well, I loved playing Neverwinter Nights or like Gauntlet Dark Legacy, and these are a little bit more arcadey. Or not Neverwinter Nights, that's a slower one. And the trap barrels, you're like, if I click this, I might die. Okay, let's do it. I don't know. I would like the barrels to actually do damage, and then you would be trying to stay away from them.
Yeah.
But, one more thing to fuck name lock.
But you would have to make them more noticeable. Like, you have to make them, like, bigger and, like, red. Otherwise, people would just wonder, hey, why did I die? Or I stood next to small brown barrels that looked like background.
Jump into a pack of monsters. They happen to be camping the barrels. And, like, insecure yourself.
It would be an interesting nerf to movement skills. And they've said that movement skills were never designed to be spammed.
Oh yeah, because you like Lee slam onto them accidentally or like whirl through them, like blow yourself up. That sounds cool.
Yeah, and so not being able, like you could still clear quickly, but making it so that you can't whirling blade spam blindly, leap slam blindly. Even that little bit of time you need to think about would drastically lower your clear. I like the idea. I don't necessarily think the game needs it, but it's something, and that Sextant could essentially do that unless they're just going to make them loot pinatas.
I'm guessing it's kind of like Plague of Frogs or whatever. You just like loot pinata-ish, but not too crazy. Or Plague of Rats.
I'm surprised there isn't a Sextant that just spawns a random prophecy.
That would be so cool. Randomly twin.
I'd be okay with that one.
Removing the prophecy for twinning the tier 16s, I thought was a bit of a shame. It was great watching people try to do the twinning bosses.
I wasn't a fan of it. I don't understand why they thought it was so necessary to remove. It's not like it was game breaking or anything. Like, yeah, people get an extra fragment, but those prophecies are generally like, at least on hardcore, the twin prophecy is about as expensive as the cheapest fragment anyway. Mm-hmm. And then on softcore, they're already flooded with the fragments. It's not like it makes a huge difference to the market or anything.
I mean, it makes farming the loot easier, I guess, like the bow or whatever, the mace and stuff. Like, if you want to go farm a Minotaur for the mace or the armor. But,
yeah.
But other than that, I mean, this is like the perfect risk versus reward thing. Yes, you get double the loot, but you also have to fight twice the amount of bosses at the same time. Like, that is actual good risk versus reward. What I'm wondering is if there's anything, like if maybe one of the bosses has a chance to bug out if you twin them, because they were not meant to be twinned, obviously. I wonder if there's some I can see like the Chimera maybe having some weird interaction with the disappearing phase or something. I've not done any twinned of them yet.
I think someone did it. I want to say what happened with the Chimera was like the second one didn't despawn during the ad phase, so maybe they thought that was too much of an issue or something.
Yeah, and then disabling it for one and not the others is just awkward, so just disable it for all of them.
Yeah.
Maybe if it was a programming limitation, it makes sense, but they didn't state that was why.
Maybe they'll do what they did to Core. Like, Core initially wasn't able to be twinned because they didn't have, like, twinned Malachi, like, technology implemented in the map, basically. And then maybe they'll fix it and then implement it, because I can see that being a cool thing. Like, doing twinned Guardians is a cool thing. And if your build can do it, especially on hardcore, I mean, why stop someone from killing themselves to twin Guardians? That's cool.
That's the exact point of shit like that, is to be like, okay, this is dumb, but I have access to it now. Yep. And in Prophecies, it's perfectly controllable. I think the major issue, I was talking about it earlier, maybe yesterday, is with a lot of these new map bosses, the entire process of map mods affecting both the general mobs and the boss mobs is starting to get very awkward, especially in the tier 16s.
Oh yeah, I haven't run a single T16 that was more than like a blue map that doesn't make the boss any scarier.
Yeah, and you run, relatively good builds and are proven to be a relatively competent player.
Yeah.
And when you're like, yeah, rare tier 16s are a bit of a bitch.
I tried doing a couple of the Regal it, get an easy map, and corrupt it just for that bonus. But I turned two T16 maps into 8-mod T16 maps, and they're kind of just rotting in my stash now. So...
What did you guys think of this idea? Obviously, it's probably not going to happen. You could take the sextants and so make it so that the map mods only affect non-bosses. You can affect the unique bosses, but not the bosses. And then sextants affect bosses. And now you actually have a real difference. And then all of these interesting sextants you could actually just put onto the map mods to make map mods more interesting than you do less damage, enemies do more damage.
I think if they did something like that, but maybe only for the higher tier maps, because I think a lot of the low tier maps, or at least like middle tier, I guess, when you start alking, they're kind of banking on like the boss balance at least. Like they'd have to rebalance bosses if they did.
Oh yeah, I agree
so I guess
with that.
Maybe it would work, but they have to do a bit of boss rebalancing, which I wouldn't count on happening. It's a cool idea, but it's one of those ones where like.
Well, also with the implementation already of the sextants, there's no way it's going to be done. They've already spent the time.
They just did boss rebalancing. That was the whole last patch, right? So
yeah.
I mean, Chris said it's like 90% of the work was just doing the bosses and redoing them. So yeah, I can see. I can see that not happening again anytime soon.
So Fudge is just 3-to-1 your bricked tier 16s into a tier 17. Clearly.
Oh, dude, why didn't I think of that? It's the perfect plan.
Trade in 3 tier 16s and it gives you the shard for whatever reason. You're like, okay.
I mean, what I dislike about the mods affecting the bosses, that there's just some mods that just make some bosses unreasonably dangerous. Like multi-proj on some bosses is just, they can AoE overlap shotgun you now. You cannot do this now. Like, I don't know, even freaking Calm is crazy with multi-proj, as Project P, for example, has found.
Calm is one. Have you guys seen
and he's a melee boss. Why is multi-proj making him unreasonably dangerous?
Yeah.
Or
have you guys seen the Coves boss?
Oh yeah, I've seen so many people getting one shot by that.
Yep.
Yeah. I have this sheet for the rips of the week that I've been doing, and I've got like 17. It's just same thing.
People just get murdered.
Yeah, so walk in, boom, dead. Yeah, I've shaped the reef, and that's the same boss but in a room. So yeah, I've rolled over multi-proj on that every time it happened because nope.
Plaza's horrible for that too.
I actually did multi-proj Plaza the other day. I was like, I don't know, it's now Orchard, I think. The Orchard boss. And I was like, okay, so it's like +4 projectiles, but and I was thinking, but she shoots like 8 projectiles, so like 4 more doesn't really matter, right? But it like kind of like does times 4 the projectiles. It's like, it's not just +4, that's like way more than that. She's just like this endless barrage of green blobs flying in my face. I was like, this is more than just +4.
I think how it works is like she does multiple casts, as you see. It's almost like a channel skill, and each one of those casts gets 4 extra projectiles, because all the projectiles don't hit at once when she uses it. So I think she's like barrage casting, and each one of those casts is getting the extra projectiles.
It has to be something like this, because it just was just like machine gun, and I was like, okay, I'm dying here, please, no, hello. So yeah, no multi-proj. Anything that has projectiles, I'm just not doing multi-proj on it anymore. It's just no. Not happening.
It's fucking fantastic though. And I like that bosses can get interesting. But I think it's just the multi-proj one that there are certain bosses that are clearly designed not to have it, and as soon as you put multi-proj on it, it is, if you get hit, you're dead. Fucking, you're done.
Yeah, I'm sometimes wondering if they actually test every boss with multi-proj, and then they seem like, yeah, that's reasonable.
Didn't they disable multi-proj with Malformation boss?
I don't think so. I know that it like makes the room uninhabitable for any sort of life, but I don't think they got rid of it ever.
Someone mentioned it, but I haven't tested it, so I was wondering if you guys ran into that.
Oh, would it have been like this league? Because I think I ran that map once.
Yeah.
To complete it, and then threw the rest of my stash because it's an awful map.
What are you talking about? They readjusted all the maps so that they would be more or less even.
I actually ran
running all the malformations.
I actually ran a ton of malformations, but I don't think I ever let multi-proj be on it because I just wasn't sure if I would die if I do.
I think it was the Malformation Tier 10 was the last map that I unlocked for my currently crafted Atlas. It just never dropped.
What? Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, for like quite a while, like a long while, I only had Arsenal, nothing else. Just like nothing ever dropped. Every time I got a +1 or +2 in like a tier 9 or tier 8, it was like always Arsenal. I was like, well, it's a good layout, and it gives me the Warlord cards. I was super happy about this, and I still don't have like all like the left inner part of the Atlas just completely empty because I can't do Scriptorium boss, for example, because the game just dies if I enter the boss room every time. And
oh, really?
all the parts around that is just yeah, I just don't have anything because it just doesn't drop. Even if I do like the adjacent maps, it just doesn't drop. And I can't be asked to buy it because my Atlas bonus is like 100 something. It's enough. It's weird. I think the only one I bought is Springs because it's good.
I bought a bunch. I was like, I don't know. I'd get really impatient where if I ran, I think Beacon was one I couldn't get for the longest time, even though I ran 6 or 7 estuaries.
Mm-hmm.
I just gave up, and I would just buy them at that point. Get way too impatient.
I learned that if I wanted it, do the 3-to-1 trade-in. Like, if I want that map unlocked for whatever reason, odds are doing a 3-to-1 trade-in is going to happen first before running 3 maps and hoping for the +1, because you're going to get a different +1.
Yeah, it's kind of like a guaranteed +1 basically from 3 maps. And if you just want the bonus, I guess, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, if you're trading, it probably makes sense to look up if it's actually worth doing. But if you're not trading, it's the easy way out.
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to the restart of the Atlas in 2.5 in the context of racing Waggle?
Personally, yeah.
Okay.
Because I think some people didn't realize it right away this league, but if you're the first, like among the first getting into maps, you make so much fucking currency selling your lower level maps to people so they can get them on their Atlas.
Yeah,
so, it's good for me, assuming I don't die 17 times on the first 2 days of the league.
You never know. There's a possibility.
Yeah.
Well, our map's still selling?
I've been selling... The only ones I've had listed recently is T11s and T12s. And they still sell relatively well. Yep. Mostly the T12s at this point.
Yeah, same. I also been selling some tier 15s just because it gives good currency. And they sell really, really well. Even like shaped ones.
Yeah.
Like people just buy them for like running them. Like shaped courtyards and shaped key maps. They sell like super well.
I shaped the key map. I still call it the Quay map. And people get triggered and they try to correct me every time. But it's forever Quay for me. I've gotten, I don't know, at least 10 or 15 underground rivers. No Quay. No shaped Quay.
What? That's crazy though.
Why did you shape the Quay map? Out of curiosity.
It's linear as fuck.
Yeah.
It is. Boss is weird though.
Well, I was Flame Blast, I one-shot everything. I don't know. Like with Prolific Ignite, it's just like Flame Blast. Next phase dies.
Yeah,
done with the boss.
I shaped it, I was doing Blade Vortex. Which is kind of the same thing. You just stack up on the first guy, the next one spawns. They just all start dropping. Because it's a good skill, it's really good gameplay. And
obviously.
If you use it right, you can kill the bosses pretty well.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah, just have to have like the right strategy and like come at the right angles. Like
you really have to hold down your Blade Vortex key. That's the key.
If you let go of it, you instantly lose DPS if you let go of it. So that's a key point.
I was just trying to remember the tier 10s. I haven't unlocked all of the tier 15 shapes, so I was just like, okay, Courtyard. Armory was 10, but I didn't even think about what the third one was going to be. There's also a couple of the base items that drop in key, which is relatively decent.
I don't know, if I want base items, I just anarchy stuff at this point. Just, hey, free base items.
Are you actually, I'm not finding Rogue Exiles to drop them frequently, though. How are you finding them?
I do. And also you can sell any un-ID'd rare you drop, you can sell for the challenges, which is pretty damn great. I think a lot of people don't know that this actually sells.
Yeah. I got a bunch of Exiles doing... When I was farming more of the T16s, because I've been leveling, but I would get monstrous treasures, I would just buy them. And go in the T16 maps and then roll Exiles on the strong boxes.
Oh yeah, that's really good.
And I got a couple high level of the two-tone boots, but nobody really buys those. But I did get an eye level 85 steel ring.
Nice.
Ooh.
So that one was the big money.
Yeah, that's.
How much does that sell for? Out of curiosity.
I think I sold it for 50 chaos when the regular ones were about 25.
Yep.
Nice.
So
it's still about the
solid.
same. They're still like 40 chaos or so, like the high level ones. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
The main money bases are like the opal ring actually sells pretty well if you have a high level one.
I don't even know where that one drops. I think that one
regularly Bacon, nowhere else, only Beacon map.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I have any of this?
That's why exiles are so good, because if you get like an 84 one of those, because Beacon does not usually drop it unless you get like a plus chest level rogue exile chest, I guess, or like a plus chest level chest in general. Then yeah, you can get higher level ones of those, and the ES belt obviously is worth quite a bit.
Yeah.
And that ES belt is dumb.
The ES belt is completely ridiculous.
A little bit.
I remember somebody was telling me that belt was released, and they're like, "Oh no, the Vanguard belt is so much better for CI," and I'm just like, "What?"
Yeah, I have a Vanguard belt. It's in my chaos recipe tab, but I don't do the chaos recipe anymore. So it's just kind of chilling.
Vanguard is excellent for armor evasion meta when it exists.
When it will happen, I think this will be a great belt. Yes.
Well, okay, so related to that, it interests me that it exists. The Doubt Essence can craft evasion onto a belt.
Yes.
Which you can put on and it doesn't consume the armor roll. So you can actually get a life armor evasion prefix. Armor evasion Vanguard.
And you lose WED. Not good.
Well, maybe you're not using WED because you've got a Starforge. I don't fucking know.
Okay.
Now, it's obviously shit in the current meta, and don't do it. But that interests me that's just one of the things that I'm like, you could get a neat belt there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Maybe one day when the meta for that will be there, this will be a great
and
belt.
Essence no longer exists.
Maybe they will stay around, I don't know. I'm kind of curious if they will.
Waggle, do you want Essence to stay in the game?
Yeah, I think at the very least, I like the higher level ones, the corruption only ones. I don't know if we need them all the way through the game to make leveling super easy all the time. But like, I like the corruption essences, and I like as overpowered as it might be currently, but like casters doing stuff with bows now because they couldn't without the essence. I like the stuff like that, and I hope it sticks around.
Sven is saying that he found an opal ring in Mineral Pool, not from Exiles. So we know the wiki hasn't been up to date. All right, sorry about that. Keep going.
But yeah, I think they should give it the prophecy treatment in some fashion where it's way less common, but keep them around somehow. Maybe turn it into a map mod. Maybe I don't know what the answer is.
Be good at as a map mod, just same way you can get additional exiles. You can
get like 3 essence packs or something.
Make it a roll between 1 and 3.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's always what I'm wondering. By the way, exiles are always 2. Why do not make them a roll between 1 and something 4, or whatever?
I like the prophecy that spawns 4. I think
that one's good.
Exiles everywhere.
I love 4 feral exiles on an exile map, and then anarchy it, and it's like 10 exiles. Oh baby, and with the precinct, oh double baby, that's the best. And then double boss it, and you have like 20 exiles on the map. That's what has to happen. I love exiles actually. I think they're really cool, especially if there are a lot of them. They actually like get scary because you can't one shot every one of them like instantly.
Well, it's their aura buffs. That's what makes them interesting.
Yeah.
That as well.
Because often people forget about the fact that the exiles do have an aura. It's just the exiles alone are so shit that the auras never mean anything.
That's actually how I often like identify that there's an exile coming off screen.
You
like,
see the auras around.
You see the aura on other shit, and you're like, oh, I have to nuke that direction, and then you just go there, and there's all exile loot there. Yep.
This is what we need as a sextant. Spawn Grandmaster.
No.
Oh no. Oh
no. That's one of these
people would. You get that one, it'd be like, congrats. Throw away 3 maps into your map device and get rid of it.
Hey, most of the Grandmasters are like a level 1 naked dude.
That's true. I guess most people would probably take their chances, and then you find the lightning arrow frostwall guy, and he just one-shots you.
Yeah.
Well, the lightning arrow frostwall doesn't interact that way anymore.
Oh yeah, he's nerfed.
Right.
But you
Yeah.
could get
so you get the super
puncture.
tank.
There's the puncture trap. There's the puncture bow guy with like the mirrored harbinger that you're just like off screen like, hey, what's this? Boom, done.
Yeah, he's like tornado shot with perfect corrupted mirror gear and has a puncture as well. He's like you get shot by a puncture for almost your life, and then he tornado shots you in your direction from off screen. He's pretty fair.
But that's the thing: risk versus reward. One of them drops the mirror card.
Yeah,
Okay.
Totally.
Or the
I
mirror
have
card.
so many mirror cards from the Hall of Grandmasters I ran on softcore. Boy golly gee. I'm pretty close. Or no, wait, that one doesn't even drop the mirror card. Hall of Grandmasters drops the card that gives you the mirror card.
Yep.
The mirror card.
So you only need like 90 of them or something.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah, but the thing is, most of the time you're gonna get that shit exile. Dumb shit. It's the same thing like the twinning thing. Why not? I don't know.
Yes, I don't know.
I would like to see people who put their money into the Hall of the Grandmasters get a little bit more. They could have even just made a new tier 16 map that randomly spawns as the boss one of the Hall of the Grandmasters the same way that there's the warbands. Yes, you can avoid it. You can clear it. It can even then be modified by map mods because it would be fun to see some of those guys with map mods.
Oh yeah, the puncture guy definitely needs extra projectiles, for example. He definitely does. Like he doesn't have enough yet.
Chain extra proj twinning. Go.
Get the ghosted prophecy going.
That would be fun for me to see. I just want to see people who put their money in the Grandmasters get a bit more.
That would be nice, I think, as well. I mean, there were Dark Shrines, right?
This league, because you have to do it for the Atlas. I mean, I don't have it done. I'm never probably going to have it done. But, people that are much more brave than I am are going to go in there and try and get their Atlas bonus. Or people that just don't know what the fuck that map is. They're like, oh, this map only costs 2 chaos. It must be easy. Dead.
Yeah, that's interesting. A lot of Grandmasters. Yeah, I think Dark Shrine had there was a Dark Shrine mod or something that spawned a random Grandmaster on your face back in the day. That was pretty. Yeah, that was one. That's pretty cool.
How that never? I remember warbands.
I died to that. That's why I know. Because it happened in fucking normal mudflats.
Was it removed? Was it removed, or was it just insanely rare?
I don't know how I got it. I just there was day 3 or something. I just slammed the random rare in there. Maybe probably had spell damage, which does a random thing. So I was just and yeah. This guy appeared and he just kind of wrecked me. And I was like, who is this? And his name was something XX something XX. I was like, this doesn't sound like a proper NPC name. And then I realized that's probably Grandmaster. I think he power siphoned my ass with full gear on normal. That's pretty good.
I want more Dark Shrines. Dark Shrines was fucking awesome.
Oh, they should just toss in original Dark Shrines into any flashback event, I feel. That would be cool.
Man.
Because why not?
They put a weird, watered down version of Dark Shrines into the Labyrinth that has
the one that curses you. Always.
Yeah,
nothing else.
So that's... I think there could have been something interesting, but I think part of the problem was how easily it was to control some pretty overpowered Dark Shrines modifications.
Yeah.
So you can't really do it as is. Just giving everybody 20 quality instantly because whatever.
I mean, the Überlap does that, basically. So.
True. Yeah, that was a weird decision.
Yeah, that was watered down quite a bit. But back in the day, 20 quality gems was like, oh my god, do I really want to spend an exalt on this, on every gem I have, or do I want to flip them and stuff? And now it's not
just going level 20 sparks, corrupting them, and then once you get the Val Spark, forcing the Val Spark to go to 20 quality. That was huge.
That was huge.
And then there was the problem where you could get invulnerability through a map. So any build could clear tier 15s of any modification.
Oh, yeah.
That was
in Magic Find Gear.
A bit of a problem.
With uncapped res. He resisted that, right? He was had full Magic Find Gear at the time.
Yeah,
And
he had those highlight. I don't remember what else he'd spawn. Oh, we did corrupting tempest because you could spawn that too. I don't know how you did that, but he'd go invincible and then spawn a corrupting tempest.
And then you get also force spawn the map drops, the map device.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just like, yeah, fucking skill.
I'm invincible. I have max quantity and rarity, and it's a corrupting tempest. Let's do this tier 15 map. Woo! Yeah,
but I think
there was also one that ghosted all the mobs.
Oh, there was also the experience of spawning all the animate weapons. I think they nerfed that after a bit. All the weapons would animate, and they would all give experience. And when you were doing high quantity maps, and it was
there's actually was a sextant for that as well, which that I think also got nerfed.
Yes.
And the animating tempest and all that kind of stuff. The problem with those animating things, by the way, is that they are immune to like a lot of shit, like sparks, shockwave totems.
Yeah, totems don't target anything that floats. I don't know why, but
I think for me it feels like this whole floating mobs are immune to random shit. Spark, for example, doesn't hit them, which is really cool. Playing a Spark build, good luck with those maps. And yeah, I think it feels kind of like outdated. I know why it is there, because so that like these mobs can actually run through each other and don't block each other and don't block projectiles, and kind of like makes sense in a certain way. But enemy mobs, I don't feel like should be like, if you're a trapper and something like spawns SRSs and shit, you're fucked.
How would you want to see Dark Shrines implemented in the game without it going full on retard mode?
Probably get rid of all the broken ones, like the clearly broken ones. I mean, there was a lot of good stuff with it, even without like the Divine Shrine and the Tempest, and then wasn't there one that also like scoured every item in your inventory and gave you alks?
Mm-hmm.
And people you could like either get rid of them, or maybe make it so that they're only available from, I think you said it was the spell damage roll that makes you get a random one. Like, make it so you can't deterministically get those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe just like a compromise between the lab one we have right now and the less control. Like compromise between the lab one we have right now and the original version, where you have all the crazy mods and it's completely random. You just click on them and you don't put a weapon in and all that kind of jazz. I like that part about it, but it made it too controllable, I feel. Or always make it so that it chooses one of the mods on the weapon or completely random.
Yeah, I could see them doing it that way, because ultimately it was the control that we had. There can exist hilariously bullshit things as long as there's a lack of control. Yep. There's some pretty hilarious bullshit prophecy stuff you can do, but you're not always getting the forced 6-link prophecy.
Yeah, well, like never gonna get them.
I should kind of like that idea. Make a Dark Shrine a mod that can only appear in corrupted maps. So like maybe if you run corrupted maps, Dark Shrines replace normal shrines.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. That's a clever and
makes sense, like
implementation.
Thematically. Yeah, exactly.
And then it would make people take more risk. I always like when you make players die because they're greedy fuckheads. That's the perfect death. You were greedy.
I don't run corrupted
You
maps.
deserved it.
I don't think they're worth it, but if they did something like that, I might go against my better judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And try a few of them.
Yep. I mean, right now they make us run corrupted maps by getting the Atlas, like the bonus, which I think is pretty cool. Like running corrupted maps, I think is.
Oh yeah, I like that as well.
Should be encouraged. I think that's an awesome idea. Just make all.
The only problem is once you've unlocked it, you're just like, okay, then you don't do it.
Yep.
And you get some great moments. Like I had some great moments where I was just like, I could just grab another map and corrupt it, but like, no, I'm doing this one. This bullshit 8-tiered chain, extra projectile, extra damage. And I'm like, no, must be done.
Yeah, I had that as well with some maps, because some of the maps are like really expensive. And I was like, I'm not spending 10 chaos again, I'm doing this. And so I did multi-proj, hasted, whatever boss, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm not doing this, or maybe I almost die or even died with. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I did a Dark Forest. It took me forever. I think I ended up actually buying the one that I finished because I just couldn't get one to drop.
Mm-hmm.
But when I corrupted it, it gave like haste plus boss haste. But I didn't know that doing double hasted Rigwald was the worst idea in the world. And I kind of went in, I was like, this seems fine.
Can you even run away from the wolf at that speed?
No, that was the problem. He kind of he ran faster than I did, and I was playing my Katava's build, which was like the quad curses.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And a shitload of defense, but he goes curse immune when he goes into wolf mode, and then he outruns me.
And you can't leech from him as well.
I think I dropped to about 10% ES 3 times on the fight. And everyone's just like, stop, don't do this, just leave, it's not worth it. I got him. It was probably the scariest map I've run all league, but I got him.
Worth it.
I think
happened if you didn't have to corrupt maps, that never would have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the most enjoyable boss fights in hardcore, when you know that you shouldn't be doing it, and you could just buy the map. Even like the time you're spending on the boss, you could have just ran another map.
Yep.
But you're like, no, this is a pride kill. It must die. I will lose my character if I have to.
Yeah. That's like what I did when I wanted the High Gardens map unlocked, and I corrupted a few ones that are just like not runnable because I always corrupted freaking Ellie Reflect on them, and I was like, okay, yeah, can't run, because that's not the point of I want to do this. This is the point of I die when I go in. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to buy a corrupted one. And most of them were like the runnable corrupted ones are really expensive because the people know like, hey, someone wants to unlock them. So I was like, okay, there was a cheap one up there that was pretty dangerous. It was like double boss, turbo, multi-proj. And multi-proj, by the way, in High Gardens map doubles the lasers and the projectiles and the spawned physical explosions he does. He doubles, like, multi-proj all the things. I was like, that's a lot of shit. And there's also like some damage mods and crap. Like, I think like 3 damage mods. It was like, but it's only 3 chaos. So I bought it and I ran the map. I almost died like 3 or 4 times, but it was so worth it. And I was like, yep, save that money. Totally worth it.
Yeah, but you saved like 10 chaos that, like, if you died, you got that much more chaos to reroll your next character.
Yeah, exactly. That's like a tabula, man.
Exactly. You have that planned to a T.
And I didn't even die to that. I did not even die. It's totally worth it.
I don't even know. Like, High Gardens is one of the maps that I didn't unlock because of my Atlas craft. So I'm like, I don't know what the boss is.
Because
there's a whole bunch of bosses.
It's actually a pretty cool boss.
It's one of the coolest bosses, I think. It's made after the statue from Fellshrine, but it's bigger. And it does like Molten Strike you, it charges you, and it summons fire lasers from the sky, like sunbeams.
Oh, that was previewed in one of the very first Atlas videos, I believe that.
Yeah, and he summons these physical orbs that the what's it called, the Haku missions spawn.
Missions, yeah.
He spawns those everywhere as well, and yeah, the lasers hit pretty hard, and the Molten Strike, if you get shotgun or like AoE, whatever bullshit, it also can hit pretty hard. The charge actually doesn't hit that hard, but it's pretty much instant. You just like boom, shield charges to your face with his knee.
Yeah, with the Atlas craft, the new maps that I needed to do for my specific setup were in red tiers: Estuary, or let's say tier 12 plus, Estuary, Beacon, Mineral Pool, and Abyss. And those are like hilariously simple maps.
A pretty good setup as well.
Yeah, and I unlocked it that way for Steel Ring farming, Steel Ring Red Blade farming. But it just happened that those bosses are very, very easy. They roll map mods relatively well, and it's just kind of like, because of where they put the items, I'm not doing any of the new bosses, really. And then Estuary is a joke.
Estuary. Yeah, I was like, oh, damn, these ice fireball, AoE overlap, blood doesn't actually do that much damage.
It seems like, honestly, the Estuary boss would be a pretty cool boss if he had like 10 times the life that he has, and you could actually fight long enough to see the mechanics.
There are a couple bosses like that where there's a mechanic and then the boss instantly dies, like the new crematorium boss. When I first did him with really low damage, he was annoying, and I was figuring out the fight. And then once I had a slightly better character, I was just like, why does this even have a mechanic? He just dies.
But if you have 50 damage, the boss fight is actually pretty difficult, and he can be really hard to take down because he will heal up always. And if your damage he basically has like a damage threshold that you have to hit, otherwise you basically can't beat him at all. Because even if you hit the levers like pretty much instantly and pretty much instantly notice where he goes, which is not that easy to find out sometimes.
I just activate the levers before he even warps.
Oh, you can do that. See, I didn't know.
But they're like timed. If you have like really shitty damage, like really shitty, the timing of the levels can actually fuck you over because you will then warp again and then the levers are out.
As soon as the levers deactivate, you can reactivate them again.
Ah, all right.
So what I did when I had shitty damage, because I was running into that problem, I didn't have the damage threshold and he was just healing. So I was like, wait a second. These are still activatable when he hasn't warped yet. I just clicked all four, damaged him.
You just turn it into like an Azaro fight where you click the things every time they're back up.
Yep. Which then made the fight even stupider because the boss doesn't do a lot of damage. So it's just kind of like, what?
Damn it.
What happened to this boss? I feel like something's missing.
Yeah, then that's kind of like a problem then.
And it was like Estuary. There's a lot of things going on with the Estuary fight, but he doesn't do any damage, and he doesn't have any health.
Also, they should totally have given the golems EE, I feel. That would be awesome. I think that would make it more sketchy.
I was shocked that it didn't have EE. When I looked at that fight, I was like, he clearly has EE.
He looks like he should have EE because he has his double elemental. Kind of like the, what's it called, Volcano boss. He does have EE, and that totally makes sense, and it's super awesome.
Yeah.
But no. It's like a little bit like an oversight. They just like, there was like, we should give this EE for some reason.
But no, we've got Racecourse boss, because fuck people for trying a new map.
I mean, now that you know it, I think the fight's actually cool, because you kind of, if you don't have the damage yet to one-shot him when you get there, so like when you're doing like tier 6s, because the layout of the map is pretty nice, it's like pretty straightforward. Minus the dogs that are hiding in the things, those are a bit annoying.
Well, hidden mobs are always annoying.
Yeah, but other than that, the layout is pretty cool. And if I'm out of like the really good tier 6s, I usually run race courses. And the boss actually forces you to like stop fighting him for a while and let them do their shit, which is kind of, especially if like they stack up, you can't kill the other guys because the reflect guy is just sitting there with his reflect aura on the other guys and like, oh, fuck you, wait for this. I like that. I like waiting for some boss mechanics and actually having to think about the boss for a second and not just like run in, nuke, next boss.
So then what's your favorite boss, Waggle, with the Atlas?
Do I get to count
Shaper
T16s?
Tier 16s can count Shaper. And anything. You could even choose Uberit's area if for some reason you're weird.
Or Matthew.
Red Zero, man. That shit's way too old. I don't know. Actually, I really like the Phoenix fight, I think. That's probably my favorite so far.
Why is that?
I've only fought the Hydra like once, and it was on standard, and I haven't actually found one on hardcore yet, and I'm kind of too scared to run them because every build I run sucks against the Hydra. But the Phoenix fight's a lot of fun.
I thought that was the one that was generally disliked the most.
Well, I think people dislike it because it's kind of Malachi-esque in that the room is just a giant clusterfuck of you're not going to avoid everything and stuff's going to hit you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But it's got like active boss mechanics and you kind of have to run around and do things more so than... I mean, even the Shaper is you either face tank him and don't give a fuck what he does, or you play a build that kind of stands in the back and never gets hit anyway.
So then, how do you... We talked with, like, Ziz about it. We talked about Mathel. A little bit. What do you think of the Shaper fight?
I think the fight's pretty well made, but the fact that they didn't account for people just leeching through his damage. So the way his damage is set up is that, like, he doesn't have, like, quick bursts. He's got the big slam and then pretty, like, mild damage everywhere else. Because, like, even the laser beam, you know, you don't even have to be a really fat Pathfinder or anything. You just get a Vinctars and have Vol Pact, and you gotta heal it. And that's, like, the second highest damage thing he does. So maybe cross my fingers that, like, Vinctars gets gutted because it's a stupid item. And then maybe some other, like, do something so that people can't leech through them, and I think it'll be a lot more interesting of a fight.
Yeah, that's one suggestion we heard quite a bit. That like maybe make the beam so that it disables leech, or like has a stacking debuff that makes leech worse, or something like this.
Well, they could just give him like. People would probably bitch about it, but give the Shaper himself a bunch of damage mitigation while he's channeling the beam.
Oh yeah, could be a thing too. Or like, I don't know, give him Nullifier, get wrecked.
Oh man.
I would just love that. Just for the hilarity. Don't think it would be balanced though.
How would you want to see Victors changed?
I don't know, probably. What's the leech at on it right now? Like 20%?
Yeah.
Give it like 5% at best. Probably less than that. Cry. Yeah, they'll cry. It's not gonna happen. I don't think. But I think that what's the next? I think the next highest source of leech from any single thing is 2%. Pretty much.
Well, Berserker has 100%.
Oh yeah, if they get hit for a huge amount of their life.
It's only 15% actually now.
Yeah, which is not that hard in the Shaper fight, right? To get hit.
Yeah, I was actually gonna make a build. I don't remember what it was, but I wanted to use that like as specifically a boss farmer. But then everybody was like, "No, there's no point. You can just use Vinktars and do the same thing and not waste your ascendancy points." I was like, "Whatever." But yeah, I don't understand why Vinktars gets ignoring those things like Warlords is 2%, Life Leech Gem is 2%. Leech on like gear and belt is 1% or less.
What's the Harvest Staff?
Does that have leech?
Doesn't it have?
I don't think it has leech. Doesn't it have just like flask stuff? Like gain
flask
charges?
It refills your flasks.
And there's
a
crit
got 1.2.
leech.
No, it's got 1.2
oh, shit.
damage leeched as life on crit.
Ha! See?
Okay. Damn it.
No, I thought it was higher.
You got all these things, and then Vinktars is literally 10 times as much. And that's after they nerfed it the first time.
Well, and even instant life and mana leech originally and 30%. And it was like,
I mean, the only nerf that actually did something to this situation was the charge nerf, because they didn't nerf the amount of leech and the instant leech. I mean, yeah, you have to take Valpack now. It basically only fucked over the left side of the tree Vinctor builds, and the right side of the tree is like, I guess I have to spend an extra skill point. Damn it! Now I'm invincible for one more skill point. That's a problem. Fucks over my build. The only thing that really changes, like taking away the mana leech. I mean, okay, you have to find another solution for that problem, but it's not that hard.
Do you know what'd be an interesting nerf to Victors? Make the map hard.
Oh, the map where it drops, yeah.
Yeah. Just a
but
thought.
Then that would what, just raise the price, or
I don't think it's an end game solution, but for a flask that strong, it just annoys me that the map is that easy.
Yeah, make it like I mean, they could easily make that like a tier 15 or 16, and I think the reward would still be there.
So the Harvest Leech is local? Well, that's
so you have to actually
dumb.
hit. You actually have to hit shit with. No, that's not what this weapon is made for. Okay, well, rip that then.
All right. Well, never mind on the Harvest Staff. So yeah, 30%. It is. Anuhart was saying that it is only lightning, but it's fairly easy to. It gives you lightning. It can give you flat conversion, and it's fairly easy to get lightning conversion with a lot of builds. And at 30%, you don't need a lot. Plus, it's gives you damage on top of that. It gives you mana leech, which I think is underrated when people talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, also, even if you just look at it, like, if you have a conversion Vinctar and you're a Fizz build, so, you convert 20% Fizz to lightning, so a fifth of your damage is lightning now.
And then Flask Effectiveness increases the conversion that a lot of people forget about.
But even, so that's what? A fifth of 20, so 4%, still twice as much as everything else.
Mm.
Yeah, it's like, and the problem, that's becomes pretty apparent that the problem also could be that maybe we're doing a lot more damage than we used to, and it's pretty ridiculous at this point. Because Leech also gets worse when you deal less damage, obviously. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, Blade Vortex does a crap ton of damage, right?
No, I'm pretty sure it does none. It's shit skill. Worst skill I've ever seen.
Alright, damn it. Maybe I was wrong there. Maybe I'm confused with the skill that actually does damage, like Glacial Hammer.
Well, when you did the Shaper fight, you did the Quad Curse Katavas with Blade Vortex, but you didn't use Vinctors. You had 2 at Series Promise and...
No, because I think I needed the... Since it couldn't be shocked, the Vinctors doesn't really give that setup a bunch of damage, and I wanted to like scale my poison as high as I could, because that's where all my damage was.
Mm-hmm.
I probably could have used the Vinctors. I don't know if I would have had the hit damage to face tank them. Also, they're really expensive. That Zuri Flask is 5 chaos.
Yeah, you weren't able to face tank, if I remember correctly. You did actually have to dodge the laser beam, but it still it looked like a relatively smooth kill for your attempt at it.
Yeah.
How would you compare that style of Blade Vortex to some of the other builds that can't face tank it? I've seen like Essence Drain's one that comes up a bit, but that one looks way too rough on the ads.
Yeah, the ads that's the problem. The rest looks really, really smooth though.
Yeah, I think the Katava setup was really good. I actually had a better setup. Like I upgraded a lot of stuff, and I think I had a way better way of doing it. Because I killed it. Oh no, I only killed it once with that character, but then like the second time I went in, and you guys may have seen it. I don't know. I got smashed by Dominus and just died in one hit.
I saw that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, but I had switched my setup, and I had like a Ming's Heart on, and basically like I had way more damage, and I dropped Enfeeble because the goal is you don't get hit anyway, so Enfeeble didn't do a whole lot. But I think that was like the only build that I've seen that would be stronger than that outside of like, Vinctar's builds and outside of like Valrectus Fire is probably a really strong War Chief Totem setup, because if you play Chieftain and you get the Totem Taunt, it's just amazing for him.
Yep.
Well, you did Starforge War Chief, didn't you?
Yeah.
With
that one
Chieftain
made him
still.
Yeah, he was a joke with that setup until I also died.
Did you not get completely bullshitted by the bullet hell phase? Or
Kinda.
No, he moved out of the laser beam, right? And he dies outside the laser beam and starts taking damage outside the laser beam. That's the death, isn't it?
Because there was like, well, the laser beam thing was, someone analyzed it and like went frame by frame and stuff, but like the laser beam did damage to me for like some amount of frames before he even started showing that he was going to do the laser beam.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got hit by one of the bullet hell balls. Either I got hit way after I ran through it, or like the hitbox was not where the ball was. Which actually I did a lot of test runs, and the hitboxes on those things are definitely super fucked up.
I've been noticing a lot of the new stuff's hitboxes in general. I think the Hydra, whenever I watch the Hydra fight, I'm watching people run through the orbs, not getting hit. Then I see them next to the orb and get hit, and I'm just like, all right.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened with those.
Yeah, there's something going on with the orbs. Like I looked after you mentioned it. I think the last podcast or 2 podcasts ago, I looked at some of the Hydra stuff, and yeah, there's definitely something weird going on. At first, I thought it was just me. My attempt was like just me having spell block, but I have seen people do it like with builds without any block, like dual wields and stuff, or like where they have like 15% block and no spell block. You can't just run through 5 orbs and not get hit. That doesn't work.
Well, yeah. So what I want to bring up with the Shaper is there's a lot of debate of the Shaper sword being mediocre because it can't do elemental damage. Waggle, do you want to weigh in on that one?
I think it's mediocre in the sense that it's not like Disfavor where you can put it on any build and it's good. You actually have to build around it, but if you do build around it, I think it's at least as good as Disfavor or better in certain setups, because like Disfavor is great. Like the elemental damage Disfavor adds is amazing, but if you do a build where you scale poison, which is kind of the only real option right now with Starforge, or like if you did some wonky bleed build, but usually it's poison. And if you go all in on poison, you can get about as much damage as any elemental stuff does as well. And then you're kind of just trading the +2 weapon range and the +1 or 2 to support gems. I don't remember exactly what this favor has. Yeah. Trade that for the chance to shock and a bunch of AoE. That's kind of the trade-off between the two weapons.
And then the life roll.
That's how I see it, at least. Oh, yeah, and the life roll. Can't forget that. 90 life on a weapon, because why not? Or 100 life.
When I was watching you do the Shaper fights with that build, and just your life pull out with a two-handed weapon, I'm just like, what the fuck?
It's basically like gives you the life of a shield that you would normally be missing, which is pretty cool. Yeah. The skill selection is pretty limited as well. Yeah, I would definitely see that it's not as flexible, because you can toss this, like, axes are, you can use axes with all the, like, nice melee skills.
Because what's unfortunate is because of the AoE it has, like, Cyclone just sounds like a really great option, but then you look at Disfavor and weapon range is better for AoE for Cyclone.
So yeah, because it's a multiplier of the base.
There's been people doing Lacerate. I think that's probably like Lacerate, Totems, and then like Flicker Strike. People doing Flicker Strike Assassins. I haven't actually seen one of those, but everybody just wants to do Flicker Strike Assassin.
I saw a really poor Gorge run on Reddit recently with Starforge, and it did not look that sexy.
I think I actually was that like a day or two ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that one. It didn't look great, but
yeah, not for the amount of investment, no.
Unfortunately, there's the duelist ascendancy, the gladiator with the blood explosion.
Yep.
But I think all the other nodes are like one-handed scaling and like block. That would be like perfect for it. But then you're playing an ascendancy for literally just that. So it's kind of a bummer.
Yep. And it's with that sword, it's really hard to pass up on the assassin giving you the base, the maim, the double poison bleed, and a lot of people I think a lot of people, when they look at the base numbers, it's so hard because it's not in tooltip and everyone likes tooltip. Poison doesn't appear in tooltip; it just doesn't.
Yeah.
And so people are like, "Well, Disfavor gets poison," but 70% of Disfavor's damage is fire through like Herald of Ashes or Hatred and Wed and stuff like that, and all of that 70% of its base damage doesn't apply into poison whatsoever. Whereas with the Starforge, yes, unfortunately, it's a sword. That's really its huge downside. It's a fucking sword. If it was an axe, different story. All of that elemental damage scales into the poison. Or non-elemental damage to the physical, sorry.
Yeah, and also, like, if you go Assassin, you obviously go crit, so you can shock stuff, and the shock applies to the poison as well, which is... It's a really good combination. Like, I think I can see Assassin be, like, absurd DPS with Starforge. But it's, yeah, as you said, it's not on the tooltip. Shock doesn't show up on the tooltip, and poison doesn't. And the interaction between the two also doesn't. So yeah, you will have like really crappy tooltip DPS, but stuff will still die immediately.
I've been like, the whole tooltip versus how much damage you actually do kind of argument I've had so many times this league because I played 3 poison builds in a row. Like my latest one, when I killed the Shaper with it, I had like 24k tooltip Blade Vortex. Whereas like a Pathfinder, I think gets close to 200k. But I killed the Shaper faster than almost every Pathfinder build I've seen. Because poison's kind of broken still.
What are you talking about? Poison doesn't give any tooltip. Look at it. Yeah. No tooltip damage. Shit's dead.
Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah, but I mean, on the Flame Blast, people always ask me, like, what's your Flame Blast average damage? And I'm like, it's like some thousand. And then like, why does it one-shot all the bosses then? Well, first of all, because you have to take this times 10 because it's fucking Flame Blast. And secondly, Ignite.
Do you guys think that they should... how would you like to see tooltip changed in the game?
I think, honestly... so for stuff like Lightning Arrow that hits 1 billion times, I think it only displaying the damage, assuming you hit once, is fair. Mm-hmm. But they need to add DPS for the stuff that doesn't have DPS. Like that sounds really obvious, but like Explosive Arrow. Summoners needs to show the tooltip of the Explosive Arrow. Yeah, every summon ever needs to show the DPS of the minions because they clearly there's access to that information somewhere. within the game, because they have to use it to calculate when the minions hit shit.
Yeah, I mean, the damage will be calculated and applied to the mob at some point, so they have to know it.
Yeah.
How would you guys be interested if there was no tooltip damage whatsoever?
I wouldn't mind, but I think everyone else would.
It would suck from, like, just from comparing, like, you know, if I'm playing Blade Vortex, because that's the first skill that I can think of, because the one I'm playing right now doesn't work, but, and I want to see if this thing that I'm going to try ups my damage or doesn't up my damage. It'd be impossible to tell, so you would never know really outside of, like, kind of guesswork testing.
How about Diablo 3 floaty DPS numbers ruining immersion everywhere?
Oh dear God!
Oh dude, yes.
If
I love seeing myself hit for 27 billion every quarter of a second.
Yeah.
Kill me.
Great.
Diablo 3 is like a thing where I'm like, why don't you just divide all damage numbers by 1 million to like reduce screen clutter?
Because how would you know how strong you are if you don't do billions?
I mean, just like abbreviate it with like a M and a B or something.
But then there would be letters with their numbers, and these people don't do algebra.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, I always wondered if that's the thing, like, because some ARPGs have it, some don't, and they're definitely fans of both sides of the spectrum. Like, some people like their huge numbers flying around. I always, for example, in Borderlands, I actually always like that because it kind of like feels cool.
Oh yeah.
And they look.
I think in Borderlands,
when you break
the dumbness though.
Yeah, it fits with the theme and the dumbness, and the game is not trying to look like has a realistic art style or anything like this. Just like this, it feels like playing a comic book movie anyway, so it makes sense.
I actually, I can agree with the comic book feel. Like, if I'm punching people in that game, I'm actually now kind of sad that I don't get like the old like Batman pow.
Oh yeah.
That immediately is now something that I want to be modded into Borderlands 1 and replay Borderlands 1 because that was the only true Borderlands. Fuck you, Borderlands 2.
Man, I liked Borderlands 2.
Oh, I love that game.
I thought the joke. I didn't think there was enough fresh jokes for 2.
The problem was, well, the reason I liked it, I played 2 first.
Oh, then yeah, that makes sense.
I didn't see all the recycled.
Mm-hmm.
I think whatever first Borderlands you play is going to be the better one.
Yeah,
I played 1 like very little and not through it at all, and then I played 2 like through 2 like twice in a row with some friends. It was just hilarious. But when I played 1, then after that, I was like, that's what all the shit come from. Probably kind of like the same experience if you play like Dark Souls 3 and then Dark Souls 1 or whatever. Like all the games that recycle stuff.
And you have to, whatever you play with friends more too, you're going to enjoy. Yeah. Like that game is just, playing that game solo is not as even close to the experience as playing it with friends, because then your friends are looting the shit and not giving you the weapons, and it's like, for fuck's sakes, I want the machine gun rocket launcher. Why did you get the machine gun rocket launcher? Fuck this.
Sometimes that, like, thinking about stuff like this makes me sad that Path of Exile party play has so many problems, because I love party play in loot-based games, free-for-all looting each other's stuff. Like, whenever I did party play with, for example, when we did the low-life challenge with, like, Pork, Xeno, Ziggy, lifting, that was hilarious. Like, trying to haggle stuff from someone else with, like, haggling for alg orbs and whatnot. Like, group self-found play. That's awesome.
Seeing an Exalt drop and everyone rushing to click it is an exciting thing.
Yep.
Man. Oh, man. When they had way before, or what was it? They didn't have permanent allocation.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing you could do was short. I was in like I don't even know. I think it was just a random map party, like from the notice boards, because people actually just did those. Mm-hmm. And I had a portal gem drop. And that was like the first time I ever saw one. And it dropped for me. But I was like a full screen length away. And I start running to it. But I see every other fucker in the party running on top of my portal gem because they're worth a bit of money back then. And by the time I get there, like right as I get right next to it, it drops the allocation and some other guy grabs it.
Nice. There was actually a reason to play melee at that point, because you could loot stuff earlier because it drops from the mobs next to you.
Well, and that's something else that was lost when you did pug groups. When you needed to grind while leveling, and you were like, well, okay, well, I need to do the Dox farm, but I don't want to be doing it too intensively, so I join a Dox farm pug. Yep. There would be loot that dropped, and you would see an exalt that wasn't yours, and you'd be like, oh no, it's on short allocation. Please, don't notice it. Don't notice it. I remember tons of times seeing at the time GMP drop, which would have been worth like 8 chaos at the time, and then nobody. Yeah, and nobody noticed it, right? Because there's no loot filters. And I'd be like, okay, it's on permanent allocation. Nobody noticed it. All right, wait for everyone to teleport out. And then you're like, okay, backtrack. And then you would see someone drop a port, like it would be permanent allocation. You would see someone drop a portal beside it.
Yeah, that would be me.
Walk away. And you're like, oh, shit. How do I beat this individual? It's like stuff like that was awesome. Like I just... more competing against other players.
Yeah, I like that. When I played my Guardian, like, was it 2 leagues ago or last league? I don't even know anymore. It's like all blurring together at this point. But I actually did pug dried lake farming with like triple Val hasting. It doesn't matter who's in your party. If you perma Val haste, then they will give you experience per hour that you need as a Guardian. That will work. So. Yep. And then at some point I found a Wanderer, Kinetic Blaster, and I just like added him to friend list and like ran Dried Lake till like 80 with this guy. Because he was Kinetic Blast with Wild Haste works pretty well. And that was actually pretty fun. Yeah, it was always permanent allocation because no one would apparently likes to steal loot or get their loot stolen anymore. But other than that, it was just really cool. Like you meet a lot of like new people. You see interesting builds as well sometimes. Sometimes you see people you're like, okay, this is like Rage Attack Totem Explosive Arrow or whatever. You're like,
yeah, but
interesting.
Some of those interesting builds are kind of the reason that, I don't know, at least me, I stopped playing in parties with random people. Because, it's cool that this guy's running his GMP, LMP, Molten Strike, Mjolnir, flood the screen with literally everything build. But I like seeing stuff that's going to kill me instead of just my party's particles.
What are you talking about? All the Flame Blasts being casted from the Flame Blast meta when Magnus existed.
Oh, that was so great.
Easy
I
to
loved
see.
it.
No, there's 6 Flame Blasts, and you have to count because you're like, wait, there's 7 Flame Blasts. Oh no, someone's dead.
That's what you do. Like when you play on permanent allocation, you're playing Flame Blast. Someone like drops something good, he runs on the thing. You just cast Flame Blast up and hope he locks out. I think that's what you do.
I'm trying to. I played a build like Lightning Strike with really fast attack speed, and the particles at the time, I got kicked from parties so often.
Oh yeah, my guild kind of like told me to play Frostblades instead when I played Lightning Strike on my Lightning Strike. I was like, because it lags everyone, especially if you add Chain, it makes it worse for some reason. Just lagged everyone to shit, including me. But I didn't notice it when I was playing solo as much because mobs don't have that much HP, so the lightnings don't like chain as much. But in party play, suddenly everything was like super laggy, and they were like, "Can you like play something else, please?" I'm like, "Okay, I can switch in Frostblades," and then I did, and it was fine. So we're like, "Yeah, okay, you can do that." That's how I play Frostblades.
The more clutter now you have visually with the skill, you need to pay a lot of attention at the speed of the game and the speed of deaths. My favorite thing hearing when there was the Vortex MTX that was came out was the pay to lose MTX, and that made me so happy to hear that.
Good.
Yeah, it does, and it's completely shit for seeing anything.
Yep. Other than the discharge MTX, which apparently lags people less and is in general better for performance and visibility.
I'm sorry that it looks so ugly.
Yeah, it does.
Like.
But I feel like I'm the only person that likes the tennis ball discharge. I don't know why everybody hates on it.
There are some people who like it. I think Helmet likes it as well.
And you know what? That's the purpose of having different MTXs and visual styles. That for people who like it, you can buy it, fantastic. But to me,
for the part where you have to buy it because it makes you lag less.
Mm-hmm.
Well, fucking particle slider people. I think we're all on the same page on that one.
Yeah, I was saying the other day, like, I really hope that the reason they don't have one is some sort of technical limitation, and maybe when they do the DX11 update, we can get something like that implemented.
That'd be
I don't know
nice.
the specifics, on like how how much of a difference the upgrade makes and what kind of functionality they get. But I mean,
even if they don't want us to like lower our own visuals too much, like our own particles, at least give us
Yeah,
a
like
party
lower
member
part
one. Like, just give us a party member one. I mean,
that
come on.
alone would probably revive party play by a pretty big margin. Because that's, I mean, I don't know. The reason I don't play in parties a lot is because you can't see what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, bears.
It's just not possible.
It's so easy for someone in your party to just literally cover up bearers, and you're like, instant dead. Cool. Thanks, game.
Yeah, it's kind of a problem. But I think party play in ARPGs actually makes the games a lot better and a lot more fun if it works. Like every game I played in parties, I played Diablo 3 in parties, I played Borderlands in parties, I played back in the fucking day Champions of Norath, Hammer Watch, if anyone knows that fucking game. 8-bit.
Dude, somebody else that played Champions of Norath, that's pretty amazing.
That game is so so
much
good.
fun.
It used to be so good. It was like PlayStation 2 ARPG. And it even has two parts and they're both pretty good.
Yeah. It was basically Sony's Diablo 2 clone.
Yeah. Also, what's it called? The Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, I think it was called.
So you guys
I did play that one.
Night?
No. What did it call?
Never any of the Neverwinter Night games?
I played bazillions of hours of 1 and 2. And all the expansions. I played that
so much party play I did.
I played in like LAN parties, we played that sometimes.
That was one of the best games to LAN party. I would
getting it to work was not fun though.
Oh yeah, true. That's admittedly. You know, we do an 8-hour LAN party, 6 hours is getting it to work, and then we play for 2 hours. But just the party play that you manage to get and interact with the other players makes it so much better. And I do miss that in PoE. But there's no reason to. It's just like, hey, look, more screen covering shit. Oh well.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Neverwinter Nights I played so much because I loved like theory crafting D&D characters and stuff at the time a lot, and that was kind of cool.
I did. I had Billy Bob the retarded half orc that I RP'd, and everybody would hate because if a quest dialogue took more than like 5 things to get to the next quest, I'd just murder the fucker.
Nice.
Just be like, too long. It can't deal with it.
Yeah, weakness impatient. That's pretty nice. What I liked about like Champions and Dark Alliance, like Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, was that it had direct controls over like mouse and keyboard controls, which is kind of like makes an ARPG feel a lot different. If you actually like have directional input on the character and you just run around, have the camera centered around your character just as per usual, that actually makes an ARPG feel a lot different from like the Diablo style ARPGs, which I kind of liked a lot. I still would like if that was the thing. Hammer Watch has that. I don't know if anyone of you played Hammer Watch. It's an 8-bit ARPG. They cost like $2, and you can local co-op that in front of a TV with controllers, and it's fucking hilarious. There's like simple classes, but you actually get pretty interesting skills. You have like your whirlwind warrior, and you have you have a priest that shoots a laser, and that laser is offensive. But if you shoot it at party members, it also heals, but it still looks like a laser. You're like, I'm healing you. Doesn't look like you're healing me, but I'm healing you. It was so awesome. Played that with 4 friends in front of a TV. It's hilarious. And that game does only have free-for-all looting.
I was just taking a look at it. It looks interesting.
Hammer Watch is super fun to play with.
Yeah, people. It looks like a really arcade-style kind of ARPG.
Oh yeah, it is, and it's like kind of like a thing where you have like limited lives and you have to like start over. So it kind of like feels a little bit like a like an arcadey roguelike type game, but you kind of gain extra lives back, and this is not like completely permadeath, but if both people die and you're out of lives at the same time, you're done. But it's so good. So good. One game that I still have on my list is Gauntlet. The like new Gauntlet game that they made.
Is it any good?
It's probably pretty good for it. If you pick it up for like $5 and play with a friend, I can see that being really cool.
Well, you gotta play Gauntlet with a friend. If you're playing Gauntlet solo, you have like dead hookers in your trunk. You're weird.
Yeah, I think that's the whole point. And that's like, because there are so many ARPG type games out there where I'm like, you have to play this with a friend. It's so much better with a friend. And then look at PoE, where most people seem to be playing solo. It's kind of like, I wonder if party play was a good option. Could be cool.
Well, party play's currency-wise, party play is extremely efficient. It's power-wise, it's extremely efficient. Visually, it's cancer.
Yeah, visually and
I don't even know.
no.
I don't even know if it's really that efficient currency-wise anymore. It was when maps costed a ton to like roll and stuff, but you get so much less loot. Unless you have like someone culling, you get so much less loot in a party than solo.
Fair enough.
Yeah, you do get
party
less
play is
loot.
fun. It's just bad if you're trying to play efficiently. That's the problem.
For mapping sustain it used to be, when mapping sustain and red tier sustain was a thing, it was super efficient. Like, you need way less maps and you roll together.
Everyone would solo their lower level maps and then like save the higher ones for when they partied, so they'd all share off it.
Yeah.
Also, doing like tier 16s with a party must be awkward as fuck.
Carve did that quite a bit, I think.
They were doing 3 mans, maybe 4 in the T16s. And it worked pretty well for them, but they had like that dedicated support plus like just DPS people.
I mean, if party play was more of a thing, I think we would also see more dedicated supports. Like, if finding a group was a non-issue, I think a lot more people would actually play supports, just because of how retardedly powerful they are.
Yeah, I was about to say, if party play ever does become, the way to go again over solo, I think supports are going to get nerfed pretty hard, because it's insane what they could do.
Well, I think leveling the supports is part of the problem, because there isn't really a reason to party level. Supports just don't have anything to do. You have to level with someone dedicated. The pug groups are lacking, and it's just leveling a support is a bit terrible.
Yeah, or just causes lots of regrets if you just level normally and then respec.
I think that's probably it.
I think that could be it, yeah. Looks very it-ish to me.
Well, was there anything else you wanted to talk about, Waggle? Anything at all?
Can we talk about the election?
Yes, okay, we are now talking about the election. Nope, he said it. Nope,
all right. Now you're getting right.
Right. Okay, so which election? I'm being sarcastic. Well, you said you wanted to talk about it, Waggle. Come on.
I mean, I don't even...
I'm calling you out.
I don't know of any other elections going on. I was going to try and derail the conversation.
All right. Nope, I'm calling your bluff. Go for it.
The Berlin election is already through. We had like city, town council election stuff.
Yeah. So
I don't know.
What do you have to say there, Waggle? What's your
I'm thinking
political
of voting
leanings?
for Ken Bone myself. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the man himself.
Nope, not at all.
That's
No.
I'm familiar of the internet meme that is Ken Bone. So why do you want to vote for Ken Bone?
Because there's literally no reason not to vote for Ken Bone.
Oh.
I think he's going to bring America into the future.
I would
bring us
say
to Jupiter.
him not being on the ballot would be a reason.
No, you just write him in at the bottom. Like, there's a little square and you write it in. I don't know if there is, but
So, have you voted?
I don't vote. No. I'm a real American. I don't vote.
I think that's like a majority. Isn't that pretty close to a majority demographic now? It's like 52% voting.
Yeah, I think it's like slightly over 50% still voting. Last time there was an election, so maybe you can get under 50% this time. That would be cool. I think Germany's still a bit better.
There was like some poll recently where, the power of memes and all that, where Ken Bone was ahead of one of the actual candidates.
Nice.
There's the often
People
cited
take this stuff real seriously.
There's the often cited one where like Harambe got 5%.
Oh yeah, that.
Oh man.
So, gotta love your internet polls. Those are useful as shit. But unless it's an exit poll, it doesn't really matter.
Fucking Harambe, man.
The internet loves that one. I don't get it. So
I think it's just a reason to get your dick out. I think that's all they
exactly.
really needed.
Well, my concern is that there were people that needed a reason to get their dick out.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason streams are shirt up.
Yeah, exactly.
It's for dicks out reasoning.
I wonder if you could do like a stream where you just handstand stream.
For some reason, I feel there's going to be some retarded terms and services that disqualifies, like, focus point around your junk.
Oh yeah, definitely that, and also like feet probably because of fetish reasons or whatever. But I think
okay, so you could do a handstand, but crop it so that it's like, well, ankles. There's got to be an ankle fetish, knee to stomach.
Oh yeah, knee to stomach could maybe work.
Does that seem like it would break terms and services? Or not handstand, you could just put the camera on the floor and not be retarded. That's an option as well.
Probably, yeah.
All right, so what else do you want to talk about with that the election there, Mr. Mr. Waggle? So I'm calling you out for this one. No. Come on.
Nah, I got nothing. I got absolutely nothing.
All right, see, said something, got called out for it, and that's what you get, Waggle. Absolutely nothing.
Oh man! So if people want to talk about the election with you, where can people find you on stream or social media or whatever?
Let's see. Stream on twitch.television.itsarblaryojiggle or
Your name sucks. Just gonna.
Yeah.
Why did you choose that name?
I think you should have a discussion with PC Child about this. He can give you some advice about this topic, I think.
About what topic? Having terrible
Twitch names changed before it's too late.
Yeah.
Fucking Waggle.
But yeah, this is the name up there. That's actually his Twitch. That's actually his. That's not a joke. This one's a joke, and that one up there is a joke as well. This one's actual Twitch name.
And I think it's my my Twitter handle as well, but I don't use Twitter. I just have an account because I had to make one to join some giveaways that I didn't win.
I'll still link it in the YouTube description so people can follow you. Guys, make sure to follow this Farblar Waggle on Twitter so he has to use it. Get wrecked.
Like that would make a difference.
I just also hate whenever you have to have like Twitter and whatever. It's like, you want to log into our website, you need to connect with Twitter. Fuck off.
I've come to like Twitter since I started using it because you can just like toss random messages out to random people like that follow you. It's kind of interesting.
Quick rant real quick here. Not really related, but kind of related about Skype because I had to reset up Skype because I get rid of it every time I'm done using it. But so I don't know where the fuck Skype gets off thinking they can auto-update themselves when I turn off every single option for auto-updating Skype. Well, so yesterday I'm sitting here and I see Skype restarting. Oh, it's updating, whatever, fuck this. And then it opens back up and then it tries to log in and fails and tells me, oh, we think your account may have been compromised due to a failed login attempt. You need to go reset your password. And then I go reset my password on the Skype website, but the Skype app doesn't recognize that my password's been reset. So when I type the new one in, it says it's the wrong password. When I type the old one in, it says, no, your account's still unsafe. Go reset your fucking password. And I just spent half an hour just trying to log back into Skype because it wanted to restart to update itself.
Well, we all know Skype is really a virus that has the side effect of allowing phone calls.
Yeah.
I honestly think the second there's a free program that allows you to do
Discord
what Skype does, and it's not Skype, I think Skype's dead. Or at least forced to improve their fucking shit.
Because old people will still use it.
Yeah, AOL fucking dial-up is still a multi-million-dollar industry in the United States. Just remember that. There are enough customers for dial-up.
Feels fucking bad.
So, yeah, old people are always a thing. But Discord has supposedly been trying to do a video call feature, and as soon as we get Discord video call shit going, fuck Skype.
Yeah.
just no.
Also,
Skype sucks.
Google Hangouts also. I actually tried that out, by the way, when we had the troubles with Skype. Didn't really work well for me.
Yeah, I've used Google Hangouts. Like, I used it for a couple of class projects, but there was always issues where like one person couldn't get connected properly, or like if someone who was hosting the call had even the slightest hiccup, it kicked everybody out.
Yeah, that's the problem I had. We had like 3 people in there, and it just randomly, like, as soon as like I had like a second of internet problems, like, call dismissed, get wrecked.
Yeah.
I also the audio syncing is not as clean, which means for like audio to visual, it's complete shit.
Oh, we have a question from chat. Opinions on the new channeling skill, aka Incinerate 2.0. Any opinions on that?
It's Incinerate 2.0, and unless it plays better than what GGG made it look like, it's terrible. But they're really good at making skills look terrible.
Yeah,
that is true.
That's my problem as well. Like they make builds, like show off ascendancies and whatever back in the day when they showed ascendancies, and people were like, "Why would you show this off on a build that gets stunned by white monkeys?"
Wasn't like Cleave in Act 2 that couldn't kill. No, it was the assassin with the crit when mobs are at full life.
Yeah.
In Act 2, Zone 1, and it would crit and not one-shot white monkeys.
Yes. I mean, I think they kind of maybe wanted to show off like the stacking of maims and then bleeds and stuff, which doesn't happen if you one-shot stuff, but it just made it look like shit, which kind of like was the problem.
If there's no way to increase the projectile width, like when you look at the skill, maybe projectile speed will increase its distance, but if you can't increase the width of that projectile, it's going to be shit. It's like maybe a single target burn, but...
I just assumed it was going to be like an AoE skill. And maybe AoE would make it, fatter.
Yeah. Yep. But, if
they make it a projectile, it literally is the next Incinerate.
Imagine it's just neither. Like, imagine it has neither the projectile tag or the area of effect tag.
Yeah,
and
then it's either... It probably either becomes... It does a shitload of damage and you do a super quick spin around your character and one-shot everything, or it's, like, awful.
But it seems to have a limited target turn rate, right?
It's supposed to have a limited turn rate. That was one of the problems they had with the channel skills, is they had to limit the turn rate so that it doesn't look stupid.
Maybe a helmet enchant can save it, like an increased AoE or whatever helmet enchant, or increased width or whatever.
Well, it's just like nobody cares about length. It's all about girth. If you don't have the girth, nobody's going to be satisfied.
That's just like everywhere in life, basically.
Exactly.
Nobody wants
talking about sex and vaginas.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but like the pencil dick piety beam, for some reason in the shaper zone, if you get piety, her beam is like half the width of the normal one. Like, I don't know what made her go so limp on that one, but
she's not excited.
Yeah.
She's been recycled one too many times, and she's like, I'm done.
When Shaper summoned her, he was like, no one's in this zone gonna have a bigger beam than I do. I'm gonna make sure of that. And he nerfed her beam, so can't be jealous.
Alright. Now I think we tangented well enough with the political discussion.
Yes.
Yes, political discussion.
Yeah.
Alright.
We can check off like political discussion, penis jokes, like all the important stuff basically. We are
surprisingly, they weren't in the same category, even though there was possibilities. All right, sign us off, Yoji.
All right, this is the end of the podcast. We're doing this every week on Project PT's channel. I felt like we should advertise this more. It's Saturday around evening time in the EU and podcast, and you can find all the information in the description where you can find this bearded guy and this other person over there with the weird builds, and you probably already found me if you found this on YouTube. And yeah, that's basically it. Next week we're gonna have probably another guest because guests have become a thing. Until then, I'll see you and stuff.